Good morning, everyone. This is Christy Kate. I am a digital innovation consultant at Region 14 Education Service Center, and I am so excited to be with you today and to be able to get you guys pumped and ready to go for your school year. I know things are crazy. I've been loving watching your band names flow through this morning, and I'll give everybody a few more seconds in case some of you are trying to get logged in. Um, I did ask you to go into the chat window to try to define your quarantine band name. Your quarantine band name, plus how you feel today, the color of the sweatpants you're wearing. Let's be honest, some of you are not at your school. And so some of you may still be in sweats or pajama pants or jeans or whatever. The snack item you bought to last for a week that was gone in one day. And when I created this slide, I was wearing blue. So the frazzled blue Fritos, I'll be honest, today I have on khaki pants. So I should probably say the frazzled khaki Fritos. But that being said, frazzled is real. Let me be a little transparent this morning. I came in, got my presentation all loaded, ready to go, went to present, and every slide looked blank. Don't you love technology? Let's just be honest. Having those moments are not fun. I actually had to share this with my coworker, get it back into my account, and try to eliminate some of the interaction I actually had in here. But I'm seeing you guys are interacting with me inside of the chat, and I appreciate that a whole lot. If you have any issue, my coworker Sean, who will be presenting later on today, is in the chat window. He's also available. I see he has put in to the chat his phone number and his email address. If you need help getting the ability to chat, please reach out to him. That being said, let's get started today. All right. Take it off. Let's get rid of that mask for just a few minutes. Can we just have a little moment here? I'm going to bring my face back up. Let's just agree that every person in 2015 who said, in 5 years, I will be blank, had no clue. There is no way I'm going to find mine over here. We could have predicted this moment. None of us could have predicted masks. Oh yes, at Region 14, we also have the shields. So everybody 5 years ago, 2015, when they predicted where and what they'd be doing in 5 years, got it wrong. That being said, take it off for a few minutes this morning. And I want to know what you've been up to. Take your phone out. Open your Photos app. Once you've opened your Photos app, choose one of the last 5 pics that are on your camera roll. You're going to choose just one, and you're going to email it to my colleague, Hillary Miller, hmiller@esc14.net. Now, Hillary, you're going to meet her later on this morning, but I'll just open up my camera roll here on my phone for you. Most of you have it around nearby, I'm sure. When I go to my photos, all right, I have in my last 5 photos a picture of my messed up trash can that the garbage truck ran over. I have a workout schedule that I took a photocopy of so I could use it for the gym. I actually have a copy of my Starbucks order. I have a picture of I guess it's a cloud with a moon over it. And I have a picture of my uncle. Right above that, I have a picture of some food I was cooking. All of you have something that's been going on in your life. Maybe you've actually been up to the school and have started working on fixing your socially distanced classroom. But find one picture and go ahead and email it to Hillary, please. One picture, forward it, Hillary, and we'll move on. She's going to help us with a little activity a little bit later on. Now, I want to talk about just a minute while you're getting that. I'm going to leave that up a few minutes longer about taking off the masks, about me asking you for these particular moments inside of the chat about your band name. Some of you, like I'm just glancing over and I see the peachy denim pistachios and you're feeling peachy. That's awesome. I've also seen some that have said lost and they have said confused and exhausted. I feel the pain on the exhaustion. So what I want you to think about is that In my own way, as the instructor or teacher here, I'm putting a pulse on the social emotional moment of my students, you guys being my students. And it's important right off the bat that I see what we're dealing with in my virtual classroom and some things to consider. I would like for you to consider those moments when you yourself are working with your students, whether it's virtually or face to face, doing something that you can do a quick check in and be able to move on. Self care is not selfish. So, for both you and your students, be aware of what's going on and that this is the craziest year we have ever seen. Take a deep breath, give yourself some grace, a little bit of relaxation. Say it's going to be okay. I want us to think about 5 reasons that online learning might fail. Now, I told you this morning I had intentionally thought that I was going to be able to give you a poll. Had a live poll set up and created and couldn't launch that poll. So we're going to use our chat window here to be able to think about 5 reasons online learning might fail. So I'm going to show you the next slide. I've chosen 5 random reasons. There is no data behind these reasons. Christy Kate works in digital innovation. That's me. Um, over the course of March through today, the 5 complaints or reasons that I've heard issues about most often, I chose. But I want you to look at these 5. I'm going to ask you to look here and to choose which one of these 5 do you think is the main reason for you online learning might fail. Is it a resistance to change? Meaning, I don't like teaching virtually. I don't know how to teach virtually. This is not what I want to do. And that makes it harder for you as a struggle. Do you think it's about technology issues? So, Wi-Fi issues, access issues, device issues, something like I had today. Hey, I launched it and nothing showed up. Is that a possibility? Is that why it might fail for you? How about my students are unprepared? My students don't know how to deal with an online environment. My students don't know how to stay focused. My students don't know how to stay engaged. My students aren't prepared for this moment any more than we are, and that's why this is failing. How about isolation or lack of community? We are by nature, many of us, um, people that need to be around people. Now, even if you're not an extrovert, um, people that need to be around people. And so, a lot of students, they love coming to school for the community. We love coming to see our teacher friends and bonding. And so, the online environment fails for us because they're isolated. There's none of that interactivity. Lack of teacher feedback. Now, I'm not saying that teachers aren't grading assignments and returning them, but currently, right now, my coworker Sean, my coworker Hillary, and I are all co-teaching together an online class for over 100 educators. And what we do know is that every single student, every educator that submits something to us doesn't want us to just give them a 100 and return it or give them a grade and return it. Every single one of them responds pretty regularly to a private comment added to every single student, every single thing they turn in. And there's just something about going back to the other one on isolation or lack of community that says, well, you know what? I don't, I mean, my teacher graded it. Did I do well or not? I don't know how I did. They're used to seeing your faces. They are used to seeing the expression on your face when you pass something back to them. When you say, good job, I enjoyed that presentation. That facial moment is so very, very, very important. And so lack of teacher feedback, meaning the online environment doesn't work for them because of that moment. So I'm giving you a few minutes to choose one of these 5. There's plenty of others. One of these 5 that you think is the reason technology might fail for you. And I see Katie over here has said, do I have to pick one? Mine is lack of time to prepare all my preps and be ready to go online in the classroom. I'm going to bring that one up. Katie, thanks for sharing. Absolutely, you may actually find more than one. I see the students are unprepared. I see technology issues. I see isolation or lack of community. There was tech issues coming up. Students are unprepared, isolation, isolation. So many of you have felt the same things. Um, and so I just want us to consider this resistance to change. Hmm. How can we, as the instructors, as the educators, help alleviate these issues? How can we help alleviate tech issues, students not being prepared, the isolation, lack of teacher feedback? I offer you today that, you know what, I had tech issues. I had to punt, pivot, and move on. So I couldn't offer you the live poll today. I don't know why. I had to reboot my computer this morning. Was it a technology update? It's going to happen. You have issues like, but my kids don't have Wi-Fi. That's a huge problem. I know that all of our service centers, all of our districts, all of our tech directors, even the device companies are working hard, maybe more so than ever, to try to alleviate those issues. But with that being in mind, we always have to have a plan B. Always. Students being unprepared. This is going to be a big one. And so this is what I'm asking you to consider. That first day of school, that first week of school, for some of you, that will be next week with your students face to face. You got a do-over button. What I mean by that is the first week of school, you need to emulate what an online week of school looks like so that if you have to shut down 3 weeks from now, they are prepared. What if you taught them virtually face to face? That's an interesting concept. Just think on it. We're going to come back to that. Isolation or lack of community. I'm going to give you some ideas for that a little bit later in the presentation, but I want you to consider and look back at my very first slide, asking you guys to tell me your band name, getting to laugh as we read each other's. I know while these were popping up, somebody mentioned something about windmill cookies, and my coworker said, I haven't had those in years. There was a connection immediately. We don't know who you are. I don't even remember where it is. I'd have to scroll back up to find it, but there's that moment. Lack of teacher feedback. This would cause you, as a teacher, to have to be cognizant of your students, depending on how many of them are new with you, but finding out, do I need to reach out to a student more regularly than another student? Do I need to be sure that I'm going to attempt to give every single student a private comment, even if it's great job, thanks for sharing? Even if it is, hey, I noticed you did a great job. This was your grade, but I could give you a suggestion on slide 17 of what you turned into me. Just an FYI, giving them some type of feedback beyond just grading any online work. Things to consider. Now, I really want you to focus on this moment. Look at the image, and I want you to think. I'm going to make it a little bigger for you. Is the reason online learning might fail for us because we try so hard to transfer every single thing we do in the face-to-face classroom to the online platform? Well, in my 45-minute class period, they come in and I take roll. Let me be sure I take roll both places. I give them a bell ringer. Let me be sure I give the bell ringer both places. Then I go do a lecture. Let me be sure I lecture both places. Then I give them a worksheet. Let me give the worksheet both places. Then I give, then I give, then I give. Everything we did in the online and the face-to-face classroom is not designed, was never intentionalized to be part of the online environment. Is it that we're constantly trying to do every single thing that we do face-to-face online? So, for example, if I came out to your district, any one of your districts today, most would expect a 3-hour or a 6-hour day of PD. We've broken it up into 3 individual hours of PD. Why? You guys are not going to sit online with me for 6 hours. But how many of you right now are preparing to have a camera follow you around for a 6 or 7 hour day for a student sitting at home to watch? Just think about it. I wonder, can I have an expectation that engagement's going to be high for 6 full hours for a student focused on the screen? Are we trying to transfer? Consider this. What if we don't do that? What if I do not try to transfer every single thing I do in classroom to an online environment. Instead, what if I transform? And what I mean by that is what we learn or do or physically design in that online in that face-to-face environment is important. But if we started from scratch, focused on designing activities, designing instruction, designing content, designing engagement around the online platform, knowing that's what I'm using, what if we transform and increase in great engagement because it's designed right off the bat for an online platform? Remember my earlier comment about what if the first week of school you acted like they were all online anyway in order to prepare them? What if you designed your lessons? I know my special eds friends in here love to promote and talk about and discuss um, the idea behind universal design, and I love that design. You may have seen the cartoon before of a snowy day on the porch steps of a school, and somebody's trying to shovel off the steps, and others can start going in the building, but the student that is in the wheelchair can't. And yet there is a ramp, a wheelchair ramp on the side. If you shoveled the wheelchair ramp first, not only could the student with the wheelchair get into the building, but so could all of the students with feet. So, what if you designed your content around activities in ways that would promote engagement online so that the face to face kids happen to have you to extend that moment when they're face to face? If every student understands what's going on in that online environment, you may actually have more connection, more interactivity, more engagement, and less failure in that online presence. I wonder what happens on week one if your students experience a virtual environment while they are face to face with you. And here's the great thing of it: you actually have permission to fail this moment because I'm going to whisper here. Because here's the thing: you may have been a school district, a school campus that has been data driven. We don't have the data to know how to handle the situation we're in. We just don't. So, rather than letting data drive your decisions, start making some decisions to actually drive your data. We don't know what's going to happen. This kind of concept may or may not work for you. Try it. If it doesn't work, you pivot. You have permission to do a plan B. You have more than one idea behind it, but you know what? Try something new and it's okay. You might actually fail in the sense that this doesn't work for me, I'm going to try something else tomorrow. That's what we're going after, some of those moments. Grace here. Here's some signs. I'm going to make these a little bit bigger for you. Warning, we don't have all the answers. We're still asking questions. We can't give you a magical formula. We're still experimenting. We can't offer an app or a system or a program because real change happens from within. The bad news is there is no instruction manual. However, the good news is, y'all, there's no instruction manual. We're all just making it up as we go along. Take a risk and try to do what's best for you and your students. And I think it's fair to eliminate the "I'm just not very techy" from our vocabulary because it's no longer an option. And I think most of you, I don't know about you, I'm going to bring my face back up here for a second. Zoom has become a four-letter word. I can only do so many Zooms, la 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 la. Don't tell me I have another Zoom meeting, right? Same way your students feel. How many Zoom meetings, how many Google Meets are we putting them through every single day of the class? Whoa, it's crazy. But the cool part is, if I had told some of you, I was going to say this time last year, but hey, if I had told some of you this in January and February, you're going to be a Zoom expert, you're going to be a Google Meet expert, y'all would have said to me, "I'm not techie. I don't want to deal with that. I can't do that. I don't know what I'm doing." And yet, almost every single one of you will have zero issue in being able to connect a Zoom meeting, connect to a Google Meet, to be able to, I don't know, chat with me inside of YouTube. You guys have become pretty techie. You're probably also pretty good with Google Classroom. So I think that we can get over the hurdle that there might be some tech tools to help us um, and move forward. And yes, Pam says over here, I love that second one. I actually have those two posters, number one and number two, not the green one, but one and two, printed off. They're behind me. You might see right there, there's some white poster down there and a white poster up there. That's on the window outside my door. That, my friends, are those two posters. Because people, you could understand this, I'm sure, that with Hillary and Sean and me being a part of the technology crew, that when all of this went down, we were swamped. And I had to put those up even for our local consultants to say, we don't know, we're just trying things, let's make this work. So give yourself grace, give your administrators grace. I know you're asking them a lot of questions, and I know those admin guys are busting it. The ladies are working hard. They're trying so desperately to be sure that you feel like you're embraced and that you're ready to go. But they don't have the answers either. They're trying to reach out to us. They're trying to reach out to DEA. They're listening to what's being told. We don't know what's going to work for your district. And I think today we have 4 separate districts. So Rural, shout out. Paint Creek, shout out. I know some of those peeps. But I don't want to leave Knox City and to leave Mundy behind, because here's the thing. Every single one of you may look alike in size and some of your demographics, but you're nothing alike. And what works at Monday might not work at Rural. What works in Knox City may very well work for Paint Creek, and that's a great thing. But give yourself that grace to say, I tried something and I moved on. So now let's take another moment here. I would love to be able to do another poll here, but I want you to pick an object to help you teach. This is a little idea I came up with called My Learning Wardrobe. If I'm teaching online, how in the world am I going to know how to help those kids in a pinch? So let me model this for you. Everybody hold up a hand wherever you're sitting, at your kitchen table, on the couch, in your classroom, wherever you are. And I want you just to reach around you, beside your little device that you have with you. What can you pick up? Maybe it's a coffee cup. Maybe it's, for me, some sticky notes. Maybe it's your mask. Maybe it's the mouse on your computer. I don't know. Everybody pick up something and type for me the object that you have in your hand in your chat window. I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about it. You're going to pick an object. Now, in this case, you're my students. I'm asking you to pick the object, but as a teacher, you can pick an object for your students, or you can ask them when they're at home to pick an object. Pick an object and tell me what you got. I was going to have you vote because I predicted that the most common objects would be either a coffee cup or some sticky notes. I thought maybe markers or highlighters. Teachers have those around a lot. I thought there might be some tissue boxes. That's on my desk over here. So give me some examples of things you guys have at your disposal. Clipboard. I'm going to start putting this up. I have, yep, I'm seeing things come in. Y'all are awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for participating with me on this moment. Lots of good stuff coming in. I see a pen. I see tape, coffee cup, phone, mouse, a napkin, Kleenex. Oh, yeah, hand sanitizer. Marcia, why didn't I think of that? Absolutely. Scissors. Pam might be at her desk or she might be at home crafting. Remote control. Oh, you been watching TV, Isabel? I think that's a good idea. Candy. The coffee cup. Bottle of water. Sunglasses. More cups, more phones, more post-it notes. There's a planner. Oh, that's awesome. More pens, more, oh, a Sonic drink. Yum. Phone, coffee mug, highlighter. And I bet you have the phone because I mentioned that earlier. Keys, flare pen. Awesome, awesome. I see lots of pens. Okay, I'm going to yell across the cubicle right quick to my good friend Hillary. Hey, Hillary, do you think you've seen more coffee cups or more pens and pencils? Hillary just yelled for me and she said she sees coffee cups more often. So I'm going to take that off and I'm going to switch my screen over to something called Jamboard. Don't know if any of you have ever used Jamboard before, but this is a part of your Google Suite. Notice up here in the top at my URL, you'll see jamboard.google.com. I'll make it bigger for you on the screen. There you go. Jamboard.google.com. And this is nothing but a quick way to do sticky note moments. Okay. So it works on multiple devices, but we're using the web browser right now. So now I'm going to add into the middle of this an image of our coffee cup. But while you're thinking about a coffee cup, I want you to think how you, as a teacher, no matter what grade level you are, might be able to use a coffee cup to help your students learn math, social studies, English, science. And if you're a special, give me all the special moments you have, like PE or ag science, or how might a coffee cup cover a standard you have to teach? Give examples inside our comments, and my colleagues Sean and Linda are going to help us think of ways we might use this inside instruction. So I'm going to go over here and you're going to watch me while you're coming up with a way you might use a coffee cup. And I'm going to Google search an image for a coffee cup. All right, what kind of coffee cup do I think you guys might be using? I'm going to go, I don't know, I like this mug. Even though I'll be honest, I have the Starbucks mug right now. I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to select it and insert it into my presentation. And I'm going to make it a little smaller so we have more room. Whoops, I rotated it. Let's not rotate it. Let's make it a little smaller. I'm going to put that right here in the middle. So we're thinking about a coffee cup. How might you use a coffee cup to learn math or to teach math? Math teachers. Ooh, I see an ag one that says, how do we get the coffee in the cup? How might we do social studies? ELA. Science. I see some awesome ones coming up. Keep bringing them in. I have identify letters on the cup. Teach 3D shapes. Where did the coffee bean come from? Spanish vocabulary about item and conversational practice. Love that, Karen. Volume. Financial math and budgeting. Let me tell you something. I have had to rebudget because there's a Starbucks right next to the service center. That is not a good thing for my weight or my pocketbook. Volume, diameter, radius. Identifying the letters on the cup. Yes, because this particular cup had letters on it. And if I had littles, that would be awesome. Heat transfer. How coffee is made or beans are grown. ELA, we could describe what it looks like and maybe is there any smell and use adjectives. Ooh, I like that idea. Math. How many ounces can the coffee cup hold? Measuring. Volume. Creative writing. Write a descriptive paragraph that describes your coffee cup. Be sure to use vivid language. How many ounces can the coffee cup hold? Without being specific, don't tell me it holds coffee. Tell me it is a vessel for a dark, heavenly liquid. Wow, Tara, I can visualize. Sorting and counting in math. Circumference. Ooh, computer science. Output a picture of a coffee cup, or more advanced, write a program to decide if a cup is empty and needs to be refilled. Okay, I know right this very second, my colleague Sean is geeking out over that one. Writing prompts. I would use it as a hook to get the kids buy-in for a historical event. Maybe like Truman found out about the development of the atomic bomb after FDR died. Ooh, one of those, what do you think this is about concept today? Volume density. In PE, caffeine, like in coffee, is okay in moderation, but you should eliminate it during sports. Ooh, good one. Math. How many cups in a pint? How many cups in a quart? How many cups in a gallon? So units of measurement. Where does it come from? Thermal energy. Creative writing that ties in the cup. I could go on and on and on and on, and you guys just it just keeps coming in. I keep sliding and wanting to not miss one. Pour hot coffee on the sleeping student. Actually hold a liquid to be identified through different density. Using the cup to hold sticks to draw names. Have name student give an example of action verbs. I like it. Imports and exports. Ooh, I like that one too. Economics, charting the demand of coffee over the course of a year. Okay, I want you guys to think really. I mean, you could use your scroll button on your chat as well and go up and down and see all of these different ideas. Guys, in one object, and I'm going to let Sean and Linda keep going, keep sorting and pulling in these fabulous ideas because we don't want to miss them. But I would like to ask you to consider you picked up a coffee cup nearby and look at all of these lessons, all of these content areas you were able to cover. And I want you to also consider if you have students with modifications, how can this help those students? You've used what is accessible. This is my learning wardrobe to be able to teach. Don't let yourself feel like you're unprepared, don't have what you need if your curriculum content, textbook, online textbook, whatever is not accessible to you when you get ready to have another moment of, hey, we're shutting down for a week, be sure you continue to teach. It's okay. You guys have got this because you can use what either you have accessible to you or what the student has accessible to them. You may actually start with that coffee cup and be the teacher and you know what you're teaching, or you may tell the students and the parents, hey guys, go to the kitchen, pull out a glass or a coffee cup or a sippy cup or a mug or a plastic water bottle or something. Have it with your student because we're going to do some activities. You may tell your kids at the end of one online session, hey guys, guess what? Tomorrow, we're going to use a coffee cup to learn all about volume. Brainstorm, get ready, tell me what you think you're going to do, have a coffee cup accessible to you and some water you can pour in and out of it. Those are the kind of things you can do with what is available. And look at all of these ideas. And because you're giving each other all of these ideas, I want you to remember that some of your best resources are across the hall, down the hall, in the building next door. If you can't come up with an idea right off the bat, that's okay. Sometimes we need our coffee before the ideas start coming. But I want you to be able to say, I'm going to ask so and so, give me an idea. I want to use the learning wardrobe method to teach my kids, and I want to teach them about 3D shapes and creative writing. Ooh, remember we could use coffee cup for that. Ooh, my kids would have one of those accessible to them. Great, let's do it. So I want you to keep those thoughts in mind. They're going to continue to build this board for me, but I'm going to go on back to our presentation here, where you picked an object, any object, to help you teach. Just one idea of how you might transform your curriculum. Because here's the thing, I could do this activity in a face-to-face environment, but it works really well online. I can transform my curriculum rather than just transferring everything. Here's another thing to consider. Choice. Choice in learning, choice in practice, and choice in mastery. And what I mean by all of that is you've heard a lot about student voice and choice, but it is really, really hard. I will own up to this as a teacher, not to want to be the person that is going to tell them exactly what to do and how to do it, when to do it, and when to turn into me. What does it look like to allow the students more flexibility because we are in a more flexible learning environment now? Your kids' parents were given choices. Do you want to start your students face to face? Do you want to start them at home online? And guess what? You had to adjust to whatever choice they're making. Will they pull them out if another surge in the numbers happen with COVID-19? We don't know. We don't know if we're going to close down again. We don't know if we're going to get to start on time. I'll just tell you right now, my family lives in Tennessee. I'll bring my face back up so we can have this conversation. I like talking to my friends here. My family lives in Tennessee. I just recently went home to see all of them. My brother is a coach teacher, and my sister-in-law works in, she's a teacher, but now she also works in instructional moments with the students. Tennessee was supposed to start school on August the 3rd. That was Monday, okay? All students in their area. My sister-in-law on July, about the 10th, maybe, was called and told, hey, you're going to be the virtual teacher for all third, fourth, and fifth graders. We only have 20 kids at this one campus in third, fourth, and fifth that are going to be at home. That was the choice their family made. So those 20 kids are your kids. You're the virtual teacher for those three grade levels, all subjects. She was she'd always been a fifth grade science teacher, and then she recently had done seventh and eighth grade math and technology integration. So she was a little bit concerned, and she said, "Okay, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna get started." They were petrified because about Thursday or Friday, while I was at home last week, they said, "We're not ready. We're still trying to get devices sent out to kids. We're still trying to get things set up. It's going to be 2 weeks before this is ready. And yet we're starting school on Monday." Well, they had a surge in cases over the weekend. And on Sunday night, before first day of school on Monday morning, they got the push alert. School was being put off to August 17th. And you know what my brother told me? He said, honestly, the neighboring district right next door to us isn't starting to August 31st, and I will not be surprised if we don't get the alert. Hey, we're still not ready. We're going to push the date again. I hope that doesn't happen for any of us. I hope that those of you who are supposed to start on Monday get to start on Monday. But what I want to say to you is that choice is going to help the flexibility of whatever our schedule ends up being. And I see over here that Leslie tells me I'm using choice boards in Google Classroom. Awesome. So choice in learning, meaning choice in how you learn, virtual and face to face, that's a choice right off the bat. But perhaps I'm a kid that I have a niece like this. She's an auditory style learner. She learns so much better if she hears it, if she listens to it. There are students with special needs who have to have that moment where we're looking at that printed text all of the time is not beneficial to their learning. Can they learn the same content with a choice in how they learn it? My niece used to ask me to read out loud to her textbook. It's not that she couldn't read. She was a high school student at the time, but it didn't make nearly as much sense to her as when I read it to her. They didn't have any audiobooks. But can you come up with multiple ways they might try to learn that concept? For example, you as the teacher say, here's a video, here's a web article to read, here's a blog post, here's an audiobook to listen to. Choose one of these ways to learn how to blink. What about choice in practice? Okay, maybe you can't give them as much choice in how they learn or even in what they learn because you've got certain standards to follow. But practice how they do it. Are you going to have a worksheet? Well, you know what? If you're online, they may not. And certainly taking that online worksheet and just transferring it to online is not an engaging moment. I know sometimes we have to do it, but can you give them different ways to practice? Hey, none of these are going to be graded, but try these 4 different things and turn 3 of them into me. Try these 5 things, or from these 5 things, choose 2. Maybe you give them something like you see on this screen, a tic-tac-toe board, where they have to choose and make a tic-tac-toe, or they have to make a Connect Four. Make it look like a Connect Four board if for your littles, they like that kind of thing. And do they have a choice in mastery? How can I show you that I get it? I'm not necessarily talking about every little assessment that you have to do that for them, but do they have a choice? Can they turn in a project? Can they take a quiz, a test? Can they write something for you? Can they take their phone and take pictures on a camera roll and have it emailed to you or uploaded to you? Is that an option for them? And would that help increase the engagement and keep our virtual classrooms from failing? Consider those choices. I'll just have another little, I'm going to bring back my face. I have another little real moment with you. I told my colleague this morning, I had a teacher who we'd given some choices in this online class. I mentioned that earlier to you guys. And one of the caveats in that class is you could only get credit for doing one assignment in every category. Well, she wanted to do a second assignment in one category. And I messaged her. I said, that's fine if you really want to do that, but I can't give you extra credit. And her response to me was, oh, that's okay. I really liked this and I want to learn a little bit more. And then she went on to tell me, I've really enjoyed this class and being able to have choice in what I choose to learn that will help me in my classroom. We can't always give that freedom of choice to all of our students, but I do want you to consider, And I messaged her back. I said, "Great. I'm glad you're enjoying what you're doing, you're learning." The reason she was doing it, enjoying it, is because she had the choice. So sometimes giving them choices in multiple aspects of the lesson and in multiple aspects of the instruction will be beneficial to you as the teacher and to them as the student. So now, I think you hopefully have a clearer picture on the idea of, hey, what I'm doing face to face, every little thing doesn't have to be transferred over, but what I do with my online class needs to be transformed specifically for an online environment. Christy, give me other ways. How do I do that? I'm already tired. I'm already worn out. I don't know how to do it. So here's some things to think about. How do you transform? Well, first of all, many of you have heard of probably a flipped classroom. Flipped classroom was popularized 5 to 10 years ago, maybe, with the idea behind what you normally do in class. The normal thing was lecture, giving notes, practice, maybe the test pieces were actually done at home, the learning part. And then what you used to send home as homework was done in class with a teacher. A lot of people used videos. Here's all of the how-tos. And in our modern, I'm going to bring my face back up. In the world we live in technology-wise, we are kidding ourselves if we think that the students aren't going to YouTube or TikTok for their how-tos, because they are. It's out there. If they don't understand what's written in that textbook or the note they took at the board from you, they're looking it up. They're trying to find it done in a way that is easier for them to understand and to comprehend. So the idea behind the flipped classroom initially was you assign them videos, you tell them to be, here's the instruction, and then we'll see if we all understand it in our practice when you get back to the classroom. That is also something that can still work in this virtual environment. And like I've already said previously, what if you flip the classroom moment face to face the first week of school with, hey, I know we're all face to face. We're going to act like we're all online. Everybody open up the device. I've checked them out for a day. Open up your device, or maybe they have a device with them, or maybe you rotate a group around that concept and you say, what does it look like to learn from me at home? Even if that means the teacher is sitting in front of her desk computer and doing the screen share with them. Theirs are all on mute, so there's not a mass chaos of what the sound is. They're really hearing her voice, but they're watching. And she's explaining to them, when you get on with me, here's my expectations. Here's how we interact. Everybody go in and chat on the side for me. Everybody do this. This is how it feels. I'm going to set up a routine. Every time we're together, here's the things we're going to do, so that they understand what that looks like. The next one you see on here is a 4-minute Zoom. This concept goes all the way back to the idea that none of us, I mean, this is a hard moment for you right now. You got to sit through an hour and 15 minutes of me talking. You're going to get a small break, and then you're going to have to sit through an hour of Hillary talking. And then you're going to get an hour and a half lunch break, and you got to come back and sit through an hour of Sean talking. And guess what? That's only 3 hours, and your day is done. So the idea behind what some of our districts are saying they're going to do for this asynchronous synchronous moment is a little scary. I want you to consider 4-minute Zooms, and this could still hold true for meets. What I'm saying is that you schedule individual 4-minute meetings with your kids. You give them a schedule. You actually let them have some choice in that and say, okay, we're going to have a 4-minute meeting, just you and me, or you and me and 3 people, like you're grouping them. Students, these 3 students at this time, these 3 students at this time, we're meeting for 4 minutes. Let's do a quick, I'm teaching you this. We're off the Zoom. I need you to go do this. I'll be back I see you guys again in an hour and a half. And we have a 4-minute Zoom again. Ready? Go. Maybe you don't do it every day, but those are ways to keep them engaged and keep that online virtual moment moving. Topic-based lessons. In this moment, I'm discussing the fact that many elementary teachers do this and do this well. So they say, our theme for this month, for this 6 weeks, for this unit is, pick it. Maybe it's a holiday. Maybe it's fall. And almost everything you teach or instruct is around that concept. What this will do in your virtual classroom is give your parents the ability to assist if they're doing this at home. If you tell your parents, hey, our topic for the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks for everything we're learning, especially if you're self-contained, is going to be maybe a TV show, maybe a holiday, maybe it's the sports activities that we wish we were getting to have. And so having them, hey, we're going to be studying, or maybe it's food. Let's talk about one of my favorites. Um, we're going to be studying in our math class shapes. Somebody had mentioned 3D shapes earlier. We're studying shapes, and we're going to be using food for the next 3 weeks when we're studying, you know what, everything. So help your students, help your kids at home think of ways they can use food objects to learn about 3D shapes in math. Food objects. We're studying what is it in social studies we're studying? How can we use food objects? What are we studying in science? How can we use food objects? Our topic-based lessons across all content that we are teaching is going to be this for this week, this unit, this particular time frame. Helping them frame if it's around a holiday, that's an easier one to do. Bits and pieces chunky monkey. Well, this concept we utilized a lot this summer. Hillary and I did a Google Classroom online session, and we realized really quickly we needed to chunk it up, pull it out to smaller bits and pieces. No way was anybody going to be able to sit through 3 hours of a regular training on Google Classroom in an online platform. So we chunked it up into 3 separate 1 hour sessions. How can you, as a teacher, because the kids are across the screen and because it's unrealistic for us to have them sitting there for that entire amount of time, chunk your content to have a 15-minute lesson on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and still cover your content? Because they're also going to be sharing their devices with a sibling, maybe a parent. And you're also going to have to deal with the fact that, and I'll bring my face back up because I feel like I'm talking to the screen, I'm using my hands, that they also can't go through your class all day, then the next teacher's class all day, and the next teacher's class all day. So what can you do in chunked increments? That's why they love YouTube, short, 4 minutes or less videos. That's why they love TikTok. You see that one coming up? So I've already gone over my learning wardrobe. TikTok mentality. Okay, go ahead and tell me in the chat if you guys have TikTok, or if your student has TikTok, or if you watch TikTok from somebody else, even if you don't post, or if at least you know what it is. Most of you probably have heard negative stuff about, let's see, on the news, they talked about how our data was stored in China. It was a China-owned company. The president was going to have Microsoft buy it, or else it's going to be banned. I don't really care about any of that stuff right now. What I'm asking you to just focus on is the TikTok mentality. Why is it popular? Why do our kids watch it? Why do our teachers participate in it? What ideas do you have? Because here's the thing. I confess, I have a TikTok account. I confess, I don't post much. I'm a consumer. Maybe I'll get to that point where I want to. It's a little bit of a time sucker for me. At night, if I can't sleep, I'm on TikTok. And the videos are short. Jennifer said it right here. Right here. Look at that. Because the videos are short. Oh, look at Tara. My kids do TikTok dances all day long. Yep, Paula, you and I are in the same boat. Having to just watch. Ha ha. Friends post. Daughter has it. We know what it is that it's popular. It is, oh, look here. Stony says it's engaging. So this is what I want you to consider. What does the TikTok mentality look like for you as an educator in promoting virtual online instruction? Short, not a 45-minute recorded class of everything I'm doing when I'm walking around the room. Crickets for a second here. If that's what you're scheduling to do just so they get that time, you got to think twice, because I can guarantee you a failure in that learning environment. Short, friends share it. I don't have it. I have it, has lots of good resources. What? Something as bad as TikTok or YouTube has good resources? Listen, some of the best PD I've received is on TikTok. I just want you to consider short. Oh, look at Matthew right here. He says short, simple, and new. We're in a new classroom environment with virtual learning. Shake it up for them. TikTok mentality in your instruction. Short, quick, funny. A lot of it is funny. And here's the real clincher, all the way back to earlier when I talked about permission to fail. How many really silly, stupid little videos have they seen that they laugh over, but there's a connection? Remember that isolation piece? They connect to people who try something and it doesn't work right the first time and then they try it again. Last night, I saw this lady try to work on her form on her plank and she asked her husband to help her. She was an educator and she wanted him to hold her feet for her and he didn't understand what he was trying to help her do and she fell over and got so tickled. He got tickled and they had to close the camera and yet it had like 73.5 thousand views and I'm like, it's because she failed at it and then she gets on and she does it again. Rayanne, you're hooked. I get it. How can you hook your students in their online virtual classroom by using that same TikTok mentality with the lessons you offer? Now, game on, work off. Remember that whole isolation concept we talked about at the beginning? How can I utilize the time we are face to face in a Google Meet or in a Zoom? In that meet moment, can we just play a game with each other? Can we have a social time to find out what's going on? Can we have show and tell? Can we play trivia? Maybe the trivia is over content, but it's relaxed. We get to see each other. And then at the end of that moment, maybe it's only that 15-minute, maybe it's that 4-minute Zoom. We just have a good time talking, and then we say, okay, in your Google Classroom, kids, I have assigned this, this, and this. This needs to be completed. Please reach out to me if you want a quick 4-minute Zoom with just me or me and your buddies to figure out an issue you have. We'll be back on at this meeting time. And at this meeting time, we'll go over a few things. Then I have another way to wrap up our game activity. Can we make the online time exciting enough they want to come back in a few more minutes or they want to come back tomorrow? And they know if they get their work done, we get to have that moment. And then memes and virtual backgrounds. Wow. I know you guys have to love memes. And I'm going to yell at my friend Hillary over there. Hillary, am I good to go over here? All right, I'm going to switch back over to our Jamboard. Remember this Jamboard over here? Look at all these wonderful, exciting things you guys have been putting in here. At the top of my screen, I have multiple frames on this Jamboard. And while you guys were listening to me, bless your hearts, and you guys were giving us ideas here, Hillary was taking some of those images that you sent in to me and creating memes. So let's look what we got here. I'm going to the next frame. Here's a meme for content. Ready or not, here we go. Getting ready to jump into whatever the new learning environment is. Somebody sent in their little kiddo. Cutie, cutie. Okay, let's see what else we got. Perfect. Sending a virtual hug. So she inserted an image with text. Meme for feedback. How can you let your kids use the images that they have? Back to my learning wardrobe, send me an image. We're going to learn how to do blank in science, blank in ELA, and I'm going to use your images. Let's see what else we have here. Water cycle. What goes up will come down. Love it. Great little science meme there, and some cute kiddos with some cute looking little umbrellas there. I'm seeing those must be, let me think. There's Thomas the train and there's cars on there. So that's cute. I love that idea. Doggone it, keep trying. Utilizing images that the kids had on hand. You're my kids, you're my students here on this day, and using it towards the content and creating the memes. I tell you what, if you have high school kids, this is a moment they're going to love, being able to create memes. Also, helping them create their virtual backgrounds the first week of school. If they have that ability to use that on the Chromebook devices you check out to them for whatever you're using, help them create their virtual backgrounds. Get them involved in creating that experience in online learning. These are just small examples of how you guys will be able to transform the instruction instead of transferring it. Now let's talk about accessibility. Some things you may want to consider. Helping your students who have other needs to be able to enjoy the learning experience as well. Closed captioning. I don't know if you're aware of it, but in Slides, Meet, and YouTube, you have closed captioning. You guys should be able to mouse over at the bottom of your screen and turn on closed captioning inside of YouTube. Inside of Google Slides, I have the closed captioning option here. Turn on closed captioning in English. You can see on this screen right now that as I'm talking to you and presenting, it is going to be able to convert my speech for my students that need to be able to read it. Now, it's not perfect, but you know what? Neither is my speaking perfect. That being said, if you have a student that might benefit from this, whether they have been identified in that capacity or not, it may be that it's a good practice, best practice, back to that universal design concept, to just turn this on every single time you are working with students in a virtual environment. Helping them to be able to see these words also will be able to help the parents if they go back and are able to watch this with the students. Okay, I'm just going to leave this on for the rest of my time in this presentation. That being said, text to speech. Having it be able to read to the students. Now, if your students are getting Chromebooks, and I did send out a form, and I appreciate all of those who filled out that form for us, and were able to tell us some things about the devices you had. And astronomically, Chromebooks won. I know there were some iPads in our elementary. There are accessibility features on the iPad, but in the Chromebook accessibility tools, you need to practice that in your 1 week back in class for those who need to know how to turn on accessibility. Work with those students to show them on their Chromebook how to do that, or to show the parents how to do that. Hillary's going to give you a little more examples in her next presentation. Audio and voice recordings. I mentioned my niece Addie, um, who needed that adjustment for her own learning. And so Hillary's also going to show you some ways to add audio in the things that you send for your kids. And then G Suite accessibility is available in almost every G Suite app that you guys use. And so I'm going to give you some resources attached to this presentation to be able to help increase that accessibility for all of your students in the virtual environment, but as well in the actual classroom, the face-to-face room. With those helpful resources, here is some links that I have that I am giving to you. Every one of these link to something. If you just need an overall help in learning how to communicate and do distance learning, to these first two links. This one is by Google, Distance Learning for Educators, walks you through a little course. Maybe your administrators will give you some professional development for doing that little course. You get a little certificate at the end. Remote Learning 101 has been a favorite among many of my districts around Region 14. It's by Matt Miller, who is the author of Ditch That Textbook. And Matt walks you through ways to improve your instruction in a remote learning environment. I have links to Tools for Diverse Learners training. This is also a little course inside of your Google uh, platform where that you will sign in with your Google account, and you can go through this one little unit course on how to use tools for diverse learners. Google's accessibility features and products. This is a link that Google provides. You might not know that Google Classroom has some accessibility features that can be accessed for your students, and there are other products. So you might want to go through what Google offers. Accessibility features Chrome and apps. A fellow Google trainer from Scotland has put together a fabulous presentation that she keeps updated and shares worldwide on how to walk you through using accessibility features on a Chromebook and using the apps available for your students. Teaching Digitally, a free resource guide to help any K-12 educator, is a great Google Slides presentation to help you with any content, any subject, any grade level, prep for virtual learning. Amazing Educational Resources offers some of these fun ideas that I've been sharing with you. Return to Learn Playbook has a lot of applications and divides up face-to-face and hybrid and synchronous and asynchronous and what tools to get feedback and how to teach. And then Sean, Hillary, and I have collected quite a bit under the, and I'm sorry that my mouse just rolled over that. Maybe it'll go away in just a second. Region 14's remote learning site that will be able to, we continue to add. If there's something you think I need to add, let me know what that is. And so that will be part of your presentation as well. You'll be able to click through our site and go through some of the activities we have for you. Now, just so you know, this particular presentation is going to be linked as soon as this is over. I'm going to put the link down into the description of this video. Obviously, this is being recorded straight to YouTube, and the YouTube link you have will continue to work for you anytime you need it, and you can get my presentation that I'm going through with you right now. I want to thank you for being so kind to listen and to share with me. Here is my contact information, and I honestly do not care if you are not in my region. So, Monday in Knox City. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have comments, if you want to know more, please message me. Ask me for help. If you want me to brainstorm with you on how you can increase your engagement, increase the possibilities that you will have a successful virtual learning environment, that you can do all kinds of fun things, please let me know. I've been on my soapbox for a little while. So I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and ask me questions in the chat window. And Hillary and Sean, or if they can answer, that's great. But if Hillary will help me look through and see, do you guys have any questions that I might be able to address for you right now? Give you a few minutes to put those in our chat. See what we might have. And Hillary may see it before I do. I'm a little bit of a lag time, just giving you a little FYI on when I can see your comments. While I'm waiting for see if there's any questions, I do want to bring this up. This was funny. Ellen said, this is about TikTok. She was exposed through her granddaughter. When I first read that, I was like, oh, did you get COVID? I may or may not have a video on there with her. I've seen several grandma videos that are pretty cool. Ryan says, will this video still be available after this training ends? Yes, ma'am. It is right here on this exact same YouTube link. I am not going to take it down. It's going to be up there for you guys. And just like I said, as soon as this is over, while you're getting your break and Hillary's getting herself set up and ready to go, I will put the link for the presentation into the description of the video. And that way you guys will have everything I've presented. And I'm just waiting to see if we get questions. I know that I was given till 10:15 because I was throwing in a Q&A. Good. Ryan. I don't know if it's Ryan or Ryan. I like the spelling of that. I may be way off. I apologize. You are most welcome, Tara. You're most welcome, Katie. Anything else? Look at that crazy closed captioning. I was throwing in a QM8Q. Who knows what I was saying? Y'all are welcome. So here's what I want to tell you. I'm going to end this broadcast, but I'm going to keep it open. But when I end this broadcast, I will put that link in. You guys need to take a break wherever you are. Get up, walk around, stretch, go to the bathroom. If you have to go get those Cheez-Its, go get the Cheez-Its. Come back, get ready. Hillary is going to rock your world with slides for any grade level. She's going to share some cool things that you can do. Google Slides is not just PowerPoint, so that's what she's going to be able to share with you and show you ways. If you want to step on out of here, you're welcome to do so. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your time, all of your efforts, and guys, have a great year. Let me know whatever you need.